What are the things a person can do to fight addiction? That is a complicated question, but there are many, many answers to this. I think the most important thing is to realize that addiction is an illness of isolation, whereas recovery is about being connected with others. And in this present day and time with internet, we tend to try to fix ourselves and not really be involved with other people. So I would highly recommend getting out of the home environment and getting involved with other people in whatever capacity it is. It could be a 12-step meeting, it could be other peer recovery groups like Smart Recovery or Rational Recovery. Even being online, you can attend a 12-step meeting online as well, but it's better to be in person with people. My favorite part of going to a 12-step meeting when earlier on in my recovery was actually the socializing before and after the meeting itself. It was nice to be part of a community and have new friends. So that's really important. Going online, you can also learn about treatment centers out there. There is a whole myriad of places to go. Some of them have been exposed in the media as to be not out there for your best interest, but for their own financial gain. It is important to understand at the other side of this, so that the rehab facilities are businesses and they do need to be run accordingly, but that doesn't mean that they should be cutting corners. One of the things to look at with the rehab is the number of hours per week or per day of structured activities. That's very important, as well as the number of hours per week of one-on-one time, number of meetings in a small group or a large group. What sort of recreational activities do they offer? So those are helpful things. There's also outpatient rehab. So when a person lives at home but attends to like a school for 6 to 8 hours a day and attends the rehab, that one's a little bit tougher for some people who are on their own, but the idea is to get them involved with other people and they can learn in this community. But go home and hopefully continue to abstain from drug of choice. Speaking of abstinence, there are two schools of thought in the recovery community. Total abstinence is what most older things like 12-step groups and most rehabs would suggest is the best thing. I can give my own opinion, but I'll hold off from that at the time being. The other school of thought is harm reduction. So what they're saying in harm reduction is if you're going to use, then minimize the harm you're going to cause yourself. Some people have tried rehab and have failed. For example, an opioid or a heroin addict may have a really tough time. It's very hard to have an enduring recovery because of the dangers of opioids and how addictive they are. It's very hard for people to get out of it for a long period of time. People in this situation, then the best thing to look at, the best option would be opioid replacement therapy. So this is not total abstinence, but it's good enough. This is saying that instead of using the drug of choice, whether it's heroin, Percocet, OxyContin, whatever, in this situation, to go into opioid replacement. The newest drug is called Suboxone, otherwise known as buprenorphine. And this replaces their urge, but it doesn't give them the high. And they're no longer chasing the high and a slave to it. They're no longer distracted by picking up drugs and finding it and seeking it. Instead, they can now focus on their life and focus on themselves. So it helps stabilize them. For the most part, the opioid replacement drugs are good they're used temporarily, and ideally is to wean them off it, but gradually, so to taper them off gradually. Some people can never get off of them, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's much better, this alternative, than being a slave to the drug of choice. So opioid replacement therapy is a form of harm reduction. Some rehabs will not do both. They won't accept people who are on opioid replacement, but there are newer ones out there that will accept it. So to summarize, the things that a person can do includes being open, honest, being connected with other people, learning online, attending group meetings, preferably in person, not online, getting into a treatment program, sometimes within a rehab itself, sometimes outpatient, and for some people who fail rehab is to go into a harm reduction category and to get on opioid replacement therapy, and finally just being connected with other people.